I have David Hanna with me, and he's extraordinarily welcome. David, it's good to see you in here. Welcome onto my programme.
Thanks, Rowan.
You know, we've walked a long path together over the years, and it's always been, in your company, a good journey. And I thank you for all of the camaraderie and the guidance and the encouragement over the years. And this man, if he came in to me today and said, Rowan, I need you to come to the North Pole with me, we'd be at Belfast, probably, at least the station up the road, before I would say, David, why? That's the way it is with this guy, a man of substance, and it's lovely to see you here, David.
Thanks,
William Cohen Trust. It's been around, you're very much involved, you know about it. It's been around now 30 years.
It has.
What's the origin of it? What's it all about?
It's about giving people, less able people, dignity and their place in society, and campaigning for their needs. Very obvious needs for people less abled, but for us well-abled people, we often take things for granted.
Yeah.
And we ignore the obvious, and it can be quite embarrassing and impractical for people. And the William Cohen Trust, Bill Cohen established it.
Who was he?
Bill is a phenomenal guy.
He's still with us?
Oh, he's still with
Thanks
us.
be to God.
He is your viewers will frequently see him collecting money on collection days, and he would be in Uri, I'm sure, at least 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
And some of the shops would have been very supportive, Dunn's and others. And his wife Beth is his right-hand person, and she goes everywhere with him. Bill is confined to a wheelchair now. And
he collects in the wheelchair?
He collects in the wheelchair.
That gives us a good handle on him. So if we see the Bill Cohen on the streets of Newry, there's a lot to be said for going up and greeting him and saying, look, hello, how are you? Thank you.
Oh, totally.
Without a doubt.
Because the beneficiaries of the Trust's work is really everybody. It's society as we know it.
Society as we know it, yeah. And you made the distinction, those lesser able, we're more able. But if we're looking after the needs of the lesser able, then we're benefiting as the more able. We're becoming a more rounded human being.
Well, as well as that, Rowan, there are few families who are not affected by, constraints in mobility and disease, as we all know, and people who are fighting adversity every day of the week. And their day is a day which has got challenges all the way through it. We get up and we go and we complain we've got a sore toe or whatever, and these people just deal with very difficult situations in a very courageous way.
What was the motivation for Bill? What was the event that changed his life?
He was born with cerebral palsy, and would have he learned to walk. There's a story about him. It's on the website, and I would commend the website to your viewers.
William Cohen Trust, K-O-W-N.
Yes, K-O-W-N. And he learned to walk strapped to a harness with a dog. Yes. His parents got him on this caliper scenario.
Yes.
And he learned to walk, but and he was a successful business person in a cottage industry as well.
He's a Mourne man.
He's a Mourne man, effectively. He's Dundrum, but he would be in the general Mourne area.
Talking about Mourne before we go on, and don't lose your train of thought.
No.
But I had a great Mourne man in here the other day, Maynard Hanna.
Oh yes, Maynard.
Is he related to you?
No.
He's a great fellow. He's similarly a man of great quality and great vision. He looks forward, and but one of the most critical things he said to me sitting in here, he says, Rowan, in order for us to go forward, and I'm bringing this message out to the schools wherever I go, is that you as a Protestant must understand what it's like to stand in the shoes of me, a Catholic. Me, a Catholic, must understand what it's like to stand in your shoes. That's huge stuff. And he was saying that's the stuff that comes from traditional Mourne. And you and I remember the documentary on the Sands family,
Mm-hmm.
and you were telling me the same story about neighbours in the country out around Mayo Bridge helping at harvest time and all of that.
That's right. Well, the communities, that's what communities were all about and have been and still are.
Still are.
And it's important that we don't lose those threads.
No. Back to William.
Well, Bill Keown, he set out, I would say, on a crusade to campaign for equality and ensure that the experiences that of disabilities and we don't use terms. Language is a very important thing, as you know. So people who are less able, think a more structured and positive way to come across with that. But he would have been campaigning for equality. He would have equality in the built environment. They're very, very strong in the built environment, the William Keown Trust, because they have the William Keown Trust Access Awards. And, you know, designers, architects who are putting together new properties or major restorations would be mindful of the needs of disabled people.
Absolutely. I remember in the days, Monica Wilson was her name. She was of the Northern Ireland, it was Disability Council then. I think it was that Lesser Able Council we call it today. But Monica was coming into the BBC onto my PM Ulster programme.
Yes.
She couldn't get through the door. You know, there was a very quick learning curve, I tell you.
Totally.
But I mean, we're moving on, aren't we? Things are becoming better.
Well, I mean, these awards there's these access awards. There are nominations, and then not everybody's going to get an award because if they haven't gone far enough. So it's a very prestigious award to achieve for a new building, and those awards have the involvement of people from the built environment. Through building control individuals from certain councils who give up a lot of their time voluntarily. And I was the chair of it for 10 years. The current chairman is Philip Beattie, who worked with Armagh Council, he's retired, and very capable and very knowledgeable in the built environment. So it's a way. Whenever you look at building control and you've got British standards and this and that and the other, the William Keown Trust would go beyond that. So it's not stopping it's breaking new ground all the time.
It's going beyond the minimum requirement.
Correct. And from a design perspective, they're always constantly looking at how can you improve the built environment. So that's an important aspect, but certainly the most poignant area of their work is the Personal Achievements Awards and the Children of Courage Awards.
Yeah.
And some of your viewers will have identified with this firsthand because there are nominations from the Greater Newry area. And the Carers Award as well. So the Trust gives recognition to those who have really adopted a life of care, where they're caring for members of their family.
What a lovely phrase, a life of care. That's what we're all about.
That's what
or should be about in our own family, in our family of community, and whether we're in a Christian family, that's what it's about.
That's a human family. Yes.
Care. You could trace that all the way back to Mother Teresa.
You could.
A life of care, you know.
And it transcends cultures. If you look at the Chinese culture.
Yeah.
For their older people, you know.
I love that. As I grow older, I love the Chinese way. I say to myself, David, the Chinese have a saying, the thinker must be carried. When I tell people, I said, give me peace. Remember what the Chinese say, the thinker must be... And I get away with it most times. Listen, tell me about the band. How's your piping going?
Rebuilding again.
The band, yes, it's good.
Again,
but you're always doing that with bands. People come and people go.
It's constantly, it's a work. I mean, I would have probably been involved in maybe building 6 or 7 bands over my lifetime. And if you were to set out and work it out from the start, you would probably say, hold on, I'm not going down this road.
Yeah.
Because it can be frustrating.
Oh, God, it can.
But the rewards at the end of it are
when you hear the band, the pipes and drums, wow, goodness gracious, it's amazing.
Well, our Field Marshal Montgomery, of course, they are the ambassadors for the world now in piping, you know. So
there was a time not so very long ago, David, and you might remember it. I did a nationwide program on it, where they were experimenting with plastic reeds.
Mm-hmm.
Did they ever work?
They have worked to a degree.
Here's the question.
Yes.
Would Field Marshal Montgomery use them?
They wouldn't be using them.
No. There's your answer.
So I'm a traditionalist myself.
That's
so
right.
I think you have to. The people who were working with material a couple of hundred years ago weren't always wrong.
No, indeed.
You know, and
Indeed
modern
they were.
society isn't always right.
It's back to the Chinese again and others too. You know, it's great, but it's lovely. It's so good to. I don't know, another nationwide I did was with down at the. It was Malahide, I think. The pipe band championships of Ireland, or maybe of Britain even. I don't know.
Well, a lot of people.
But they were there from all over.
That's right.
Thomas Davis was there from Newry, and the Field Marshal Montgomery was there, and all the lads were standing around in a circle, and somebody's going around fixing them, ding, ding. I got very knowledgeable very quickly.
It's a complete different.
It's very good.
Different world, piping world,
Very
you know.
good. It's very good.
Malahide's a lovely place, of course. I mean,
Gorgeous.
the venue can be
castle
everything.
and the venue there. Is out of
Kilkenny was another one. Kilkenny had you know, with the backdrop of the castle.
Oh yeah.
Some beautiful places in Ireland for
Yeah.
piping, you know.
Yeah. What I noticed about the piping, and the whole plethora of what was going on, you are a community of bands. You're not just solitary individuals or groups going there. Everybody, Joe, how are you? How are you, Morris? How are you doing, Malcolm? Everybody, blah, 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 blah. It's all happening.
It's a complete family.
Yeah.
As the late Eddie McVeigh, who was the Northern Ireland chair and was the president of the association, the Royal Scottish Pipe Band Association, used to talk about the family. And they used to talk about the meetings, the annual general meetings were the parliament of the pipe band world. So everybody would have known everybody. Big business in America, of course.
Yes.
And Canada.
Yes.
And in parts of Brittany. I mean, the Breton music is phenomenal as well.
Unbelievable.
And the one thing about pipes, which you have experienced, is that if it gets under your skin, you never get rid of it again.
No, it's there.
There's
It's a bit like sailing.
There's no known antidote. You know,
No,
you can't
go back. I would often dawdle out on the 12th, the morning of the 12th, out to Downshire Place, out there, and just listen to the people getting ready to go. They're beating the drums, and there's people meeting up, and there's old fellas hardly able to walk, and they've been brought in cars, and the lady is there with them, and you be careful, Billy, just you watch yourself now today, and all right, darling, and they're out, and they get a drum, and they're hammering away, and the sheer volume of the noise and the joy of celebration that goes on there is enormous.
Yes,
and so in the confines of that small space of road, there for instance the telephone exchange and the school, the old school, it just seems to be a theatre for bang and noise and everybody getting ready.
Well, it's an exciting day, and it's I mean, the music. I mean, we're very fortunate in Uri that we've got a complete range of music, from accordion bands and silver bands and pipe bands, part flute bands. You know, it's a day which is a family outing.
Absolutely.
People meet up again, maybe haven't met for a year before, when they go to some of these venues, and it still is a tea and buns job, you know, in many ways.
Marie and I, we were talking the other day, we've known each other 53 years. We've been married 49 years, 6 of them divorced, but we're still good friends.
Yes.
But she and I stood 50 years ago on the trestle tables outside Fitzpatrick's shop on North Street,
yes,
sending the tea and the buns and the whatever to the Orange Men as they were coming into Newry. It was all,
yes,
it was
that's
all
right,
great.
that's right.
But it reminds me to some extent of an old family tradition we had. The nearest ever I got to it, well, part of my family came from Lisleigh, out the road.
Yes.
And every summertime we would revisit the fields where the old house stood, now a wreck. And we'd have the tea and the buns and the tablecloth on the ground, and we would enjoy all of that. It's the same kind of, same kind of thing.
It is the same
there,
type of thing, indeed.
So back, if we may, finally to the William Keown Trust. What do they really need from society in order to help them go forward? Obviously, you know, there's money. Are we talking volunteering? Are we talking general awareness and educating people about it? What is the message? What are we looking for?
I think the message is, I could sum it up in a few ways in that I think recognition is always important, because if you've got recognition and the public give you a mandate,
Yeah.
then you can use the mandate to good effect when you're lobbying.
Yeah.
So that's important. And obviously volunteering, if somebody was asked us to assist, it's important. I mean, they've got a very hard-working group in their committee and their board. They collect, the money's always important. Bill Keown, Bill's getting on in years. He wouldn't be as mobile as he has been.
Is he a successor coming on?
That's a good question, and possibly the future is, at a crossroads, because it has depended on Bill for many, many years, ably supported by some eminent doctors and surgeons, and they have stepped into the ground. I mean, the trust has been supportive of initiatives through Musgrave and the development of, progress of medical science in that field. But I think we don't want to underestimate the good that comes out of the Personal Achievement Awards. I mean, as a board member, the Personal Achievement Awards and the Children of Courage especially has to be maintained. So in the future, irrespective of whether Bill is with us or not, there has to be a recognition and I feel some encouragement for children who have, especially children who have overcame phenomenal adversity.
Sure, David, we're not going to lose this.
Oh, we're not going to lose it.
And
no.
there are so many good people around willing to walk the walk.
Nominations are important, by the way.
Yeah.
If you don't have the nominations because people feel, well, they hardly want to hear about me or my child, I would say put your children or your family members forward at the nominations every year. Of course, Jean Fitzpatrick, the comedian, Jean does the narrations and so forth on the day of the awards, and he is, in his own inimitable way, he is just class act.
Yeah,
So we have people who in the public who you would meet regular, who have got involvement with the William Keown Trust. And I think go to the website, make yourself known, and tell others. And those who have been to the special, those awards days, that is a life-changing experience. Tell others about that. That's what I would say.
David Hanna, thank
Thanks,
you.
Ron.
God bless you.
You're very welcome.
Music, Andrew, please.